Hey guys, Sean Pitts here. I know you've known our podcast for the last couple of years as EMSConnect On Shift. Well, I personally think that we should be having conversations that hit a little closer to our off-shift life than it does to our on-shift life. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open this door up to some pretty touchy topics, whether it's personal development, leadership, open the doors to other speakers and things like that. So we're rebranding the Off Shift Podcast by EMSConnect. Again, the Off Shift Podcast by EMSConnect. If you can do me a favor and spread the word that the same amazing education and content that you're used to is now just changing names, and share on all those major platforms, it would be greatly appreciated. Real quick, just who are you? Where are you at in your career? A little bit of background. I know you gave a great introduction on your last episode, but just real quick, if someone hasn't watched our previous episode.
Nick Plascoda, work for Spokane County District 9.
Common spelling, Plascoda.
Plus Coda. Work for Spokane County District 9, been with them for a little bit over 5 years now. Before then, I came from the state of Georgia, worked for Cobb County, a little department down there in Fairburn, Georgia for a long time. I just crossed over 14 years in experience.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoyed it, everything from engine work all the way to truck work, rescue, heavy, all kinds of stuff. So EMS, super passionate about the job, love the job. It's always been kind of a calling to me. So having the opportunity just to come and talk and chat and shoot the shit, I think is always kind of important when it comes to fire service, EMS, everything. So
and you are touching on a topic that I think in the social media world, in the education world, in our world, we get asked this question all the time, right? Of just like, if you could pass on some nuggets onto the new guy, like what nuggets would you pass on? So I'm super excited. You gave me awesome talking points. I threw some questions together. But what's badass is new studio, right? We're actually rebranding the podcast to EMSConnect Off Shift, which allows us to get like just a little bit less professional, less restricted. We are partnering with a guy. He's here locally. He created Smooth Operator Soap Co. He's a local police officer. We don't hold that against him, but he's got a soap company, and you are the first person to get a gift.
wow, all
Dude,
right,
we're like legit now. So beef tallow soap, all
like it.
natural. Let's kick this off of like, if you could sit down with a brand new rookie, which I know you always do, but and you already have rookies in your department, but if you could sit down with a rookie and you got 10 minutes, right, to just be like, here's what I know, here's what I wish I knew. This episode's going to go longer than 10 minutes, but what do you got? Like, what are your recommendations of like things that you wish you knew before it was too late?
That's tough. I mean, 10 minutes is, like you just said, it's just not enough time. I think the fire service has changed dramatically from the 14 years I've been in it. I can only imagine for those guys that have been doing it like 20, 30, 40 years. So I think the biggest thing is just turn your ears on. I think that's something I learned kind of early in the service. Just listen to the room. Don't be the guy that wants to be in every conversation. It's okay to just sit back and listen, especially to those guys that have the experience. I had a really cool opportunity to go to FDIC this year for the first time in my life, which was always been on my bucket list.
Awesome.
Just super cool. I have a bunch
40,000 firefighters in downtown Indy together. It's out of control.
It's super cool. And like just having the opportunity I have a bunch of buddies that teach down there. So I got to catch up with a bunch of guys from Georgia. But I remember we went into a bar and I sat down in this bar and I kind of looked around and there's all the faces of the fire service, like everybody. And I had an opportunity to sit next to Ray McCormick, which, if you know anything about Ray, he is a great guy, big beard. He's like one of the leading guys in any kind of
like the face of the fire service, right?
Yeah. And then him and Mike Champo, who's a huge FDNY ladder guy, and so like those two are
He's the forcible entry guy. Like he does a lot of like. Is that the guy that does the forcible entry videos?
No, he does a lot of like ladder work and stuff. Yeah. Super smart dudes. Those two started chatting and like. Those guys got 40 plus years in some of the busiest houses in the country. Yeah. And so I remember being like a kid, just kind of sitting back real quiet, and they're just chatting away. And they turned and looked at me and said, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I don't have an answer for you. Yeah. But it was one of those things I was like, I'm just here to listen. And they're like, "Oh, we want to involve you." And I'm like, cool, which is amazing feeling. Cause like those guys, me being a young kid, like, that meant the world to me, just that they're that open to have a conversation with me and involve me in that conversation. So going back to like your question, listening to me was huge in the fire service super early. Gave me a lot of opportunities to learn and just learn from other guys' mistakes and kind of make those little mental notes of like, hey, maybe I need to slow down here, or remember to check these things because these are the things that fail very often. These guys made these mistakes. I don't want to make those same mistakes. So
what is one thing you notice, you've been in the fire service a while, right? What's one thing you notice that young firefighters obsess over that doesn't really matter? Like, what is one thing you notice? And I've like got a couple things in my head, right, where you get the new guy who's like, dude, the last shift ran a fire and we haven't ran a fire. Or, oh, they got that badass call and it was super challenging, but we didn't do shit. Or like, so what is one thing that you constantly notice that these new guys are like obsessing over? They're literally pining towards that really, in the hindsight,
Right.
like, it doesn't matter, man.
Right. Well, of course, fire is always what we want to fight, right?
Yeah.
We all signed to be firefighters at the end of the day. Chasing fire, you can chase your whole career, you're still going to miss it. Like, it will happen, I believe. You will be put in a position when you are prepared for it. That's when it'll happen.
That's so good.
I've had a lot of experience from everything from fire to EMS, and I believe as a young guy, be patient. Don't be that guy that just wants to run in and see the worst, could be the worst call of your life. Like, as EMS responders, as paramedics, EMTs and stuff, like, you see the worst of the worst, everything from children to adults. Like, don't be that guy that wants to see the brains all over the wall, or the child who drowned or something like that. I had a really good officer. My first fire when I was a volunteer, when I first started in Peachtree City, my first fire was either Christmas Day or the day after, or Christmas Eve, one of the two, I can't remember. It was a fatality fire. And I'm like, it's like 2 a.m. We're flying down the road. I'm like, this is what I signed up for, like super amped up for it. Get there, confirm fatality. And I'm like, oh, let's like get inside. Let's see what I can do to help. And I had a really good guy who was like, hey, you're going to hang out here for a while. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, if you can do this job long enough, this is something you don't need to see yet. And I didn't understand it at the time, but when I look back now, 14 years in, I appreciated that more than anything. So don't be that guy that just wants to see it all. Like, you will, if you're going to be in the shop for 25 years, 30 years, you're going to see it. And you can't. We talked about it at the station the other day. I asked the guys, I was like, what's your thoughts? And one guy was like, oh, it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. Like, just get it out of the way. And I'm like, yeah, but now you're ripping a Band-Aid off over 25 years. Like, it's just not worth it. So limit yourself when you can.
So why do you think so many rookies feel like they have to prove themselves by chasing bad calls, right? Because they want that challenging fire. They want to put themselves in that situation. So how do you leverage that? Like, how do you help them grow, but yet protect pieces of their career over what we hope is going to be 25 years or 30 years of this job?
I think it's just, that's a challenging one.
Oh, there's more coming up. Don't you worry.
I'm good for that. I'm good for that. I think a lot of it has to do with just putting them in good situations in training so they're prepared for that big call.
I love that.
I think training is where we strive to fail because it's a controlled environment. So if we're not pushing guys and girls to I don't want to say, I call it extreme, but to their max in training, they'll never know what it's like to be when it's in the real world, when stuff goes sideways. So if you can take the time to really invest in your people, invest in your crew, invest in your department, and give back that knowledge and say, hey, like, I haven't run all the calls in the world, but I've seen videos of guys podcasts talking about these calls. It's like, how can we replicate this so that if this day does come, we're more prepared. And so I think that's huge when it comes to that next generation giving back is huge.
Heck yeah, dude. The next one because you gave me kind of a list of all the stuff you wanted, so I'm just going to hit on these to just kind of let you to work through them. So the next one you put was ask questions as much as you can and don't be afraid to put yourself out there and fail. You learn more from that and admit the mistake.
Absolutely. Asking questions, you don't ever look stupid, right? But early in my career, I had a really good corps officer. His name was Jason Champion, Lieutenant Compton. Like, those guys were just like super squared away, but like held me to a very high standard, but also invested a lot of time in me. So maybe very comfortable to be like, hey, I don't understand this, and can you explain why? And there was times where like we'd be on calls and I wouldn't understand something and I would just put it in the back of my hat. It's not the time to ask the question then, right? We're working. But I come back to him, be like, hey, why did you do this, this, and this? And he'd be like, hey, this is why. And like huge conversations. And like having that ability to ask those questions, I think helped me a lot. But it also allowed me to be able to be comfortable with like feeling vulnerable in those scenarios.
Right.
What was the other part of the question?
You basically, you broke it down,
out.
right? Ask questions as much as you can. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You learn more from that.
Yeah.
And then this one I want you to hit on, admitting your mistakes.
Ooh, it's always hard in the fire service, right? We all have egos. If you look at any kind of the information on any of the rescue, Mayday rescue, stuff like that, like I think ego is one of our biggest problems. And I admit it, guilty of it, just as all of us are. Like, especially you get to that like 5 to 8 year where you just feel like you're almost invincible. You're 22 years old, 25 years old, and you're full of piss and vinegar, and like you're ready to roll. You're like, I'm untouchable. And I felt that way too. But just being able to be like, just to stop and go, hey, like I messed up here. You will earn more respect from your people and your guys underneath you, your officers, and that just builds trust at the end of the day. Like I've had that good relationship with some folks where I'm like, hey, I really kicked that one down the curb. Like my first OSI in the state of Washington, couldn't do that in Georgia, was with now Chief Cecil. And I completely fumbled the ball. It was a respiratory or a cardiac patient that he was there for a stress test. Put him on CPAP. He was trending up and then just crashed right in front of me, and I was not prepared. And I couldn't remember my dosages. It just all went out the window. And I remember getting back from the hospital, and Chief Cecil, who was a captain at the time, was like, how do you think that went? And I was like, that went like shit.
Yeah. It went the wrong way.
Yeah, I was like, it went sideways. And he went, yep. He's like, what'd we learn? And I was like, well, I need to study my protocols a little bit more. And I spent the next like 2 weeks just hammering it home. And so now I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. And now being in the system for 5 years, I'm a little bit more comfortable. But there's always going to be a day where I'm going to be like, I just don't remember that one. I gotta back up and punt. And
yeah.
I think that's what's important with having a strong team, where I can lean a little bit and be like, hey, man, I'm not good at this. You're really good at this. How can we be better at this together? Yeah. So
what is it about the fire service that you think makes it so hard to ask questions and admit your mistakes? Do you think it's purely ego, or do you think there's something else in the fire service that just makes it feel like it's not okay to be wrong or unprepared or ask questions?
I think we just don't want to disappoint our guys.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to disappoint anybody I work with, and I disappoint guys all the time. Like, it's just the way the world is. Like,
right.
We're not perfect. We'll never be perfect. But if you can admit those failures, like, I think that's huge in building those relationships to be better. So
that's good. See, you got these questions. You're fine, dude. You're doing great. They get harder as we go.
Yes.
You said the difference between strong and firefighter strong. You put show muscles and grow muscles. Show muscles and go muscles. Sorry.
Show and go.
Grow muscles? That's probably not something we should talk about.
No, like
that's a different podcast altogether. So yeah, what do you mean? Like, compare those two side by side, like gym strong, firefighter strong. Like, what do you mean by that?
So everything I had was off of what happened to me in the past. Right. So like, I remember when I think I was like 22, 23 years old, just in the gym. I'm not a big guy, as you can see. I'm not a huge guy.
We have cameras.
Yeah, I'm not a huge guy. But I've been athletic. I've always been like strong. And so I always thought, like, to be firefighter strong, I need to be lifting weights and like all kinds of stuff. So I really hammered home like lifting weights and cardio with no gear on, like all that stuff. Well, I caught my first fire, and I was absolutely just pulling it out 1 3/4 and just wearing myself out and just completely smoked myself out.
Watching your bottle gauge go.
Oh yeah, just breathing through a bottle. Yep. And then I had a lieutenant, same guy, Champ, big guy. Not a big guy, but bigger guy, taller than me. And he's just breathing on his first bottle, just moving along. And I remember I came out of the house, and I was in the front yard, just glassed over, just smoked. He walked up to me and goes, "How was all that working out going for you?" And I'm like, I was like, I am smoked. And he's like, remember, there's a difference between being strong and being firefighter strong. And that day I completely changed like my entire view of like how to be functionally strong. I get back and now I do gear workouts and I put heavy weight on my body and just walk, and like that is what the fire service is about. And so if you are comfortable in the gear, you're comfortable doing basic movements. I'm not saying like you should be running a marathon in gear, but if you can we did a workout, me and one of the guys at the station did a workout. We just took a plate, 25-pound plate in gear on air, held it over the top of our heads and walked around the stations. And every time you put it down, you did 10 squats, and then the other guy would do it. Like, it's just simple things like that that will build shoulder strength and just get you used to being hot, uncomfortable, all that. And then you just get acclimated to it, and then it becomes easy.
Yeah. All right. Quick timeout. Don't touch the dial. This podcast is brought to you by EMSConnect, because EMS education shouldn't end when the tones drop. When you join EMSConnect, you get access to real-world education, engaging courses, live discussions, and a community built by EMS providers for EMS providers. No fluff, no check-the-box training, just practical knowledge you can actually use on every single call. Let's be honest, most first responder gifts are pretty forgettable. Another coffee mug, another shitty, cheap keychain, you pretty much already know the drill. But here is something different. If you've never heard of beef tallow soap, you're not alone. More and more people are paying attention to the ingredients in the products they use every single day. You already think about what you put in your body. Have you ever stopped to think about what you're putting on your skin? At Smooth Operator Soap Company, they handcraft premium beef tallow soap made for firefighters, EMS, law enforcement, and the people that support them. No gimmicks, just high-quality soap that's earned nothing but 5-star reviews. If you're part of the EMSConnect family or a listener of the Off Shift podcast, use the code GETLESSDUMB, all one word, to save on your order. Again, that's GETLESSDUMB, all one word, to save on your order. And hey, if you're enjoying this podcast, rate, review, and share this episode and our podcast with all of your EMS friends. It helps spread the word of what we're trying to do here, and we greatly appreciate all your support. All right, now back to this episode.
So I have a two-part question. First part question is, brand new off the street, they're getting ready to apply for the fire service, and they want to know, like, what should I be doing for working out? And what I always tell people, and I want to hear your side, is push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, air squats, weighted stair climbs without using your hands. And I always say light cardio, zone 2 cardio, 2 to 3 times a week.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, just like, and I think of, like, you want to bench press 300 pounds? Awesome. But that does not translate to what we do for a living, right? Like that does not translate to what we do on the fire ground. Like, we're not going to ever bench press 300 pounds away from your body. So what is your recommendation for someone who isn't in the fire service yet, but is listening to this and is like, how do I physically get ready for the fire service? What is your recommendation?
I think you hit it on the head. Like, calisthenics are huge. If you can't lift your own body weight off the mat, you're useless to me. You know what I mean?
Because I think you're useless to a lot of people. I don't think it's just you.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
And we don't mean useless in a negative way.
No,
but, like,
yeah.
Work for that. That should be your...
That's what you should strive for.
Yes.
You should be able to push out 25, 30 push-ups. You should be able to do pull-ups, 5 to 10. I think on the lower end, 5 to 10. If you can get anywhere from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, you're doing really well.
Heck yeah.
Squats, I do burpees, I do up-downs, because that is just... It sucks, but it is a full body movement that builds so much strength.
I fucking hate them.
I hate them too.
There's everything about them. There's nothing good about them.
I hate them. Arm circles is a big one just because it builds them shoulders. Mountain climbers are huge, 4-count mountain climbers. Anything you can do to build that, like you said, that level 2 or zone 2 is huge, because then you're just going to build from there, and then the strength comes. This might put, you said it, we don't bench press 300 pounds every time on a house fire. No. I'd rather have the guy that can take 135 and put it out for 40 times in a row than the guy that can bench the house off of me.
Yeah.
There might be a time I need you to bench the house off of me, which I will call you up.
Yeah.
I will be like, dude, I need you right now.
I need that guy who can bench press 300 pounds.
Right. And the fire service is just, everyone's so, the size difference is huge. There's guys that can knock this wall down, and there's guys that go under the wall. Like, that's what makes the fire service so great.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to put that 6'6", 260 in a confined space. You're going to find that 5'4", 135 or 165, 175 and put them in the confined space. Like that's the fire service is so vast, it's so broad that everyone has a good position that can be successful in it. So
yeah, and I want people who are listening to this that are in the medical realm of this job to understand that we're using the terms fire service, but in my opinion, what I'm going to say probably shouldn't reflect EMSConnect or anything else in this podcast, but there's no fucking difference between EMS and fire when it comes to physical standards.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
No.
Sure, you might look at, well, my job's to sit in the ambulance. The better shape you're in cardiovascularly, like crawling inside of an extrication when you're going to provide patient care while you're cutting the car, needs someone who's physically capable of doing so.
Absolutely.
Getting on the ground and intubating a patient who's trapped under a car or trapped under a trailer or whatever the case might be, you need to be physically able to do so. Like there needs to, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree, but there needs to stop being this line of physical standards drawn between medical and fire. Like
I agree.
We should all be in the fitness that allows us to physically do our jobs. In an EMS, there are crazy calls that you'll never have to do where you got to pack your gear up some mountain to resuscitate a hunter who's been shot. You have to be able to physically do that. You shouldn't be so fucking gassed when you get to the top of the hill that you can't physically do your job. So I just want it to be heard that we're not drawing a line between the fire service and medicine. We're talking about EMS as a job.
First responders.
Right? Yes, first responders.
Across the board.
I think we all need to work.
Right.
Like on that. I just wanted to,
make
sure there was no line drawn there.
When I say, like he said,
100%,
fire is just where I based off of. But
that's
I
your
believe
terminology.
Police, EMS, any of us, because like you said, Georgia, we didn't have mountains.
Right.
We had Stone Mountain, and that wasn't much. Here, you don't know how far you're going to hike into. And like you said, once you get on scene, that's when the work really starts.
Right.
Like now we're intubating or we're packaging this patient. Now, granted, a lot of places have these UTVs and stuff where it'll assist us out.
Sure.
You still got to
until they don't.
Right. And you still have to make access, not including if it's snowing. Like there's a lot of factors you have to be prepared for. So I don't think we would do justice for the people we served if we weren't in the best shape we could possibly be in.
Yeah, and I never want to be the guy that I've done it before, right? You look at you're in your personal life, you're walking around and you see someone in a job and you look at them and go, how are they able to do their job in that state? I never want someone to look at me, a friend of mine, a coworker of mine, or someone in a job that I love so much to look at them and be like, how are they going to resuscitate me when I feel like I should be resuscitating them right now? Right? That's unacceptable in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
We need to be better. The standard needs to be higher.
I agree.
100%. You hit on that in your first episode. We talked about like you can't train hard enough for a job that literally could take your life at any time. And that goes EMS or fire, right?
Right. And like you talked about, like we're going into these situations, fire. We're going into these situations where you're in gear that doesn't breathe. On top of you're wearing 60 extra pounds, on top of not being able to see, not being able to hear. So why would you give yourself a disadvantage by being overweight, cardiac issues? And I understand like everyone has medical history issues and stuff.
Comorbidity factors we understand.
I understand all that stuff, but there's a lot of things we can control. Caffeine intake, nicotine intake, alcohol.
Come from my caffeine.
I know.
I'm going after you.
And I've had, like I said, I've indulged in my life too, and and stuff. But there's a lot of things we can control. Eating healthier, and like, why not? And so that's something I've kind of been more focused on, and probably in the last year of my life is just trying to be better at eating better, not so much crap, not indulging too much in the other stuff, and
it's difficult.
Oh yeah,
right? Like it's easy to grab a quick meal.
Oh, 100%, especially when you're on an ambulance.
Hell of a lot easier, dude. This next one I love, and I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to be interested in your answer. But first, your point was invest in yourself. Don't wait for others to do it for you. Do the hard things. So unpack that for a second, and then I have just one follow-up question for you.
So where I came from, state of Georgia, you can put yourself through paramedicine and not have to be like associated with a department to like move on forward from there.
For sure.
So I put myself through my own medic school, put myself through EMT school. I put myself through fire school. I invested time and effort in myself to be successful. It allowed me to land out here. It allowed me to land my jobs in Georgia. The more marketable you make yourself on that resume, where it comes from anything from classes to certifications to stuff like that, the better off you will be to land that job that you've always wanted. So I don't like when people play the victim of like, well, it's this, it's that, it's because I'm this or it's because I'm that. Like, I don't like that. I believe that if you are qualified and you are the best candidate for the position, you deserve the position. Period.
Hell yeah.
And so invest in yourself is huge.
Yeah, I love that. So here's my follow-up question.
Yeah.
Ready for this? What is the best money you have ever spent on your own career?
Oh.
Best part of these questions is I didn't give them to you ahead of time. Like,
Yeah.
we're literally watching you just react to these.
As much as I don't want to say it,
Oh, here it comes.
probably certifying myself as paramedic.
Oh, every firefighter in the country just went, no. No, I'm just kidding.
But you got to think about it, like I've attended like Flames and stuff like that. And
For sure.
Those classes were free for me because Flames is a class that is put on for free that's hosted by the cadre.
Right.
So you want to talk about like going to classes that I learned the most about myself? Absolutely the Flames program, number one. There's no question in that. But when it came to like me actually investing time and money and effort, probably my medic school, unfortunately.
Hell yeah. I love to hear it. I love medicine, right? It's been a huge part of my career, and I give a lot of crap to like firefighters. Obviously, I mean, I went that route, but it's we said it before. This hurts every firefighter's ego when you say it's 90% of what you do.
Well,
And I don't think any fire career or any person in the fire service should be forced to go to paramedic school.
correct.
But I think there needs to be that understanding of like taking care of patients is the core of what we do. Like, and we should be good at that.
Right.
That shouldn't be one of those skills that you neglect because you quote unquote don't like it or whatever the case might be.
Right.
So,
And I just don't think it's acceptable. Like
Mhm.
there should never be a time where I look at EMT or paramedic and go, I need your help. You should already be invested in like,
Right.
what's going on.
Well, it's no different than looking at them physically incapable of doing their job. We should never look at your patient care skills and
Right.
say, "Are you like for real? Like
Right.
that's what you're presenting to the public." I don't think either one of those are acceptable on
It's
equal levels.
It's the same thing.
It's
as
no
being,
different.
being in a house fire, right?
Yep.
Like if we have a victim inside of a house fire, we're not going to be like, I need your help. You're already mentally there and going
Yep.
for it.
Hell yeah.
So like, I think you draw that line there and go like, it's the same thing. It's just a different call.
I love it.
Yeah.
Got so good. You kind of already touched on this one. The enjoy the process, don't rush it, master the backseat position. You kind of talked about that of like being not striving for like I want that fatality fire or I want that fatality car wreck or whatever. I do want you to hit on just the master the backseat position, right? Because I think this is a double-edged sword. I think you have firefighters who are in the backseat who want to be facing forward or in the front seat, right? Depending on how your apparatus is set up. But I also think there's that push from the command level of like, we need these firefighters to drive and we need them to be in the officer seat. So unpack that a little bit from both sides of the perspective, right? From the guy who's like, dude, I just want to be able to do more, right? I want to be on that truck versus the engine, or I want to be on that engine versus the box, or whatever the case might be. But then to touch on both sides of that.
So just the fire services, like you said, it's just changing so much, right?
And quickly.
Right? I am guilty just like anybody else was. I believe there's a lot of people that rush the process of just being backwards. Like
Yeah.
I loved where I worked prior. I enjoyed riding the ladder truck here. Like I enjoyed riding backwards. There's a reason why I didn't test for driver. Like there's reasons why I didn't. I also feel like that what I've done in the state of Georgia, some stuff moved here and it was very similar, but there's a lot of stuff that changed here for me. So I had to take a step back and realize like maybe I'm not as good as I was, or maybe I don't know as much as I know. So how can I be better? Let me slow it down. Let me not rush the process, and let me just get better at being backwards.
Hell yeah.
Which is hard for me because when you come with experience and you come with years on the job, you feel like you know everything, and I'm guilty of it. But there's just days where I just need to shut my mouth and just listen.
There's a lot of times during the day that I should shut my mouth.
Right. And so that's something I'm really trying to get better at. And people are like, oh, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's nothing's wrong. I'm just trying to, sometimes it's just better to keep your opinion to yourself.
Right. I love that.
And so just don't rush the process. Really master the skills, the basic skills, because the basic skills will set you up for success down the road. And then when you are riding that seat or you are driving that next role, you just stack that on top of those basic skills and you're ready to roll. you understand, like, if you are riding the seat and you're an officer and you have a probie or you have a backwards firefighter, you can turn and look and go, oh, they're pulling that hose line right, or they're throwing that ladder correctly, or they're looking at all the things that they should because they've mastered that position. I always think about a guy that worked on truck 19 for Cobb County. He did 26 years backwards. But so, like, talking about mastering the job. And I remember chatting with him about it, and he was just like, just never had the want to promote, and I love riding backwards. I love fighting fire. And I'm like, you know what? We need more people.
Me too.
Yeah. I was like, we need more people like you.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, I love the job. And I was like, and I don't want the responsibility of having to babysit people sometimes. And I'm like, I get that. So I always kind of think about him when I feel like I'm rushing my process, and everyone's process is different. There's guys that'll be 3 years driver, 5 years lieutenant, 7 years captain, you know what I mean? 12 years battalion chief. And next thing you know, they're in the office at 15. Like, if that's your path and that's your goal, I'm not going to stop you. That's just not how I wanted my career to go. So,
right. Heck yeah. I love this next one. Enjoy the Brotherhood. Don't let people shit on it. The real ones will back you when times are tough.
Yeah.
I love this of I just love this. I just want to hear your perspective on this, because I know we had some off-camera topics about off-camera topics talking about Brotherhood. So, like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean by don't ruin the Brotherhood?
This Brotherhood's been here a lot longer than we'll ever be here. It's going to continue on with or without us, like all the things. But the real ones, the guys that truly believe, that are really supportive of the Brotherhood, will be there forever.
Hell yeah.
Like, I have guys that I talk to almost every other day, weekly, monthly, like, and those are the same guys that, like, if I don't talk to for a month, 2 months, and I see them the next day, it's like we never missed a day. Right. Like, we just picked it right up. Like,
hell yeah.
The Brotherhood to me is what brought me to the fire service in the first place. Like, when I got in the service at 22, I was kind of like lost at like what I wanted to do. I was going to go in the military. I was going to be a firefighter. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And actually, the day I was going to go and enlist, I got a call from the fire service like, hey, we want you to come to rookie school for us. And I'm not the most religious guy in the world, but I kind of took that as a sign of like a direction of like I needed to go.
Hell yeah.
And I've loved it ever since, man. Like, the Brotherhood to me is what, like, I strive to always be better for, is those guys that are truly there for each other. So
I love that. This one is the first one of kind of like the opposite of looking at ourselves, but I love this. Give back anytime you can. Remember where you came from. Always bring the guy under you up with you. Build people up. Never hold them back. And if they pass you, then hopefully they will bring you up as well. So unpack that one. Because that one's tough.
It
right?
is.
Two new people, and then all of a sudden the guy below you or the guy that came after you gets promoted or whatever. Like, how do you look at that in a positive light? How do you shed positivity and not let that hurt you,
right.
Damage you?
I've dealt with the same thing. Like, I've had guys that are, I mean, my brother-in-law is a perfect example. He's been in the fire service for 5 years. He's probably going to be getting, well, I think he's at like 7 or 8 years now, whatever it is. He's going to be getting promoted to lieutenant. I'm at 14 years and I'm still riding backwards. Should I be jealous of that? No. I mean, he put himself in a position to be successful. He's been in the department longer than me. Like, good kudos for him. Like, that's amazing. I just want people to realize when people pass you, it's not a bad thing. They're just growing maybe faster than you, which is okay. Everyone's time clock's different. I believe you'll be put in a position to be successful when it's your turn to be successful.
I love that.
Yeah. Which, like I said, it's hard, and it's hard to not be jealous, and it's hard not to be angry and upset and all that stuff. And I've been guilty of it just like anyone else. So just take a breath, remember why you started, and remember who you started with. Those guys were successful because you also invested time in those people as well.
Hell yeah.
So that should be a win for you.
I love this next one. First up, last down. Right? You said you had a captain that was up early before everyone else to look over reports. And you said, I would make sure coffee was made for him, and then you'd lay back down.
Oh,
That's so good. So talk to me about first up, last down.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things that's just should just to be talked about. Like, I was always, like, the story is I had a captain that would wake up he'd be up at like 5.
Gross.
To start QCing reports from the shift prior. Like, and I felt obligated at the time. Like, I just started, like, he's up, I'm going to be up, and I'm going to make sure he has coffee to be successful for every morning. So I was up at 4:45. I'd run downstairs. It'd be completely silent in the bays. The station would be quiet. I'd be tiptoeing down the stairs, start the coffee pot, and I'd go lay back down for about an hour, hour and a half, and I'd get up and shift change and stuff like that. I think that built some discipline in me to be a little bit uncomfortable, but just to show my respect to the guy that's still grinding like late in the night while we sleep. Going into like another conversation, we used to have a rule, well, not an unwritten rule, before I became a paramedic. If my medic was up writing reports at night, I was going to sit with him and write and just sit and be there and just be present with them. A lot of times that the medic would be an officer and the officer would be like, go to sleep. And I'd be like, no. And he'd be like, go to sleep. And you're like, okay. Like, and you would go, right? But it was just, I learned a lot of how to write reports that way. But I also like just being present with him while he grinded or she grinded. Like, I don't know, it just built kind of a cool little bond of like, hey, we're in this together. Like, that's no matter so what, dude, I'm backing you, you're backing me. Like, how can I help you in this situation? And so it's kind of something I've gotten away from just because, well, I'm a paramedic and I'm always one writing the reports now.
Right.
But it's just like suffering together. And so we might as well suffer together at that point.
I love it. Respect the rank. You won't always respect the person wearing it.
This one's tough.
Good luck with this one. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah. Dude. And I actually got that from Band of Brothers. If you watched the episode, Sobel, he's I think commander towards the end of it, right? And he walks past some. He's like, you have to salute. You salute the man, or you salute the rank, not the man.
Right.
He's like, no matter what, and I've been guilty. You have to respect the rank. They've earned it. At the end of the day, you don't have to like the person, but you have to respect the rank, especially out in the field. I've gotten away from it here, not as much here, but back when I was in the South, like it was always first name basis in the station, but out in the field and anything like that, it was always like Luke, Cap, Chief. I think that's just something that just shows respect at the end of the day.
I love it. Being a leader, most people think that they are in charge when really you should take care of those in your charge.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a time where you have to take that lead position and be in charge. Like, there's no question in that. Like, there's going to be times where things are sitting and getting, it's like, hey, we need someone to point in direction, like get you rolling in direction. I believe that the most important thing you can do is take care of your people. Yeah. Because if the guys and girls that are working underneath you don't respect you or are struggling and you don't realize it, you're going to put people in a bad situation. So slow things down and don't be so worried about like me and my agenda, and really check in with your guys and girls on shift and being like, hey, how are you? Like, it's part of the Brotherhood. I think that's a huge part of the Brotherhood, right? Investing in our folks and definitely checking in with our folks is important.
I love it. Last one. Well, and then I have 6 questions for you that you don't. I'm just going to fire at you.
I like it.
Homework balance is most important.
Ooh. So
you're about ready to find out how much this is real fun.
Right.
So,
this is a
I'm
huge.
excited for
this
you.
is a huge one for me.
I'm gonna check with you in a year and say, hey, how's that work home life balance
I'll
going
be back here. That's a huge one. So the joke is, or not joke, but I'm expecting my first in December.
Yes,
which
you are.
Is super exciting.
So good.
I have a stepfather of a little 9-year-old. Her name's Luna, super sweet girl. Got engaged last December, getting married in October. So I went from like bachelor life to stepdad, having my first all within like a year and a half time.
You're doing a great job.
So I went 0 to hero real quick.
You're doing a great job.
And so you talk about like work balance and stuff. Like this is something I'm gonna work on like tremendously over the next like 6 months. I've already done pretty well over the prior 6 months of just kind of like still engaging, being present and stuff. But when I'm home now.
Hell yeah.
Like I'm not checking work emails. I'm not checking staffing. I get like messages will come up for like extra staffing. And if I'm available 100%, I'm in. Sure. Overtime, stuff like that, I'm in. If people need help, guys, girls, like people are struggling, like whatever, I'm in. But there has to be that balance of separation. I've struggled a lot over my years of bringing some of that stuff home with me. And it's a lot easier when you're by yourself because you can kind of just take it in, push it out, and be done with it. Now I have a family and stuff like that. And I've caught myself numerous times kind of putting that persona of that aggression, tired, frustration out on them. And that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And so being able to like, I enjoy being able to drive. I drive from Liberty Lake over to the Meade area, North District area, and it gives me like 30 minutes to almost like prepare my mind going into shift.
Yep.
And then it gives me like 30 minutes going home.
Hell yeah.
So I can either turn on music, turn nothing on, turn a podcast on, whatever I need at that moment to just kind of turn my brain off and allow everything just to go away, I think is super important. So people struggle. People are going to have hard times. Be there for each other. And don't be afraid to talk about this stuff, man. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
All right. I got 6 rapid fire questions. You have to answer within 5 seconds.
Oh, that's tough.
Ready?
Okay.
And just single.
All right.
Ready? 1 book every firefighter should read.
No Easy Day.
Love it. 1 thing every firefighter should stop doing.
Social media.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, I wouldn't say social media. I would say bashing on each other so hard.
I love it. If you could erase 1 phrase from the fire service, what would it be?
2 in, 2 out.
Ooh, that's so good. That's so good, dude. Fill in the blank. The fire service needs more blank.
More patience.
I like that. The fire service needs more or needs less blank.
Haters.
Yeah, I was gonna say politicians.
Oh, well, that's they can go hand in hand.
Yeah, true story. What do you hope people remember about you when your career is over?
That I stood for the right things and I gave back more than I took.
Hell yeah. Last one. This one doesn't have to be within 5 seconds. You can take as long as you want. If a probationary firefighter is driving home after listening to this episode, that 30-minute drive home, they listen to your episode, and they only remember 1 thing that you said today, what do you hope that is?
It's a long career. Enjoy it. Be here for the brothers, sisters. Be here for your people. Don't neglect your family, and stand up for what's right.
Hell yeah, dude. Awesome. Thanks for coming back on another episode.
Yeah, thanks.
Now we're gonna plan a 3rd one.
All right, I'll do it. I'm in for it. We'll figure something.
I know you are. You got all kinds of stuff in your brain.
I'll chat about anything, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
For coming by.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Yes, sir.